circles here where voices thrive. Turn on your screens, let the magic unfold. Listening and healing as stories are told. Come on, come on, this is your time. No topics too tough, just heed the call. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. Inner Circle podcast where hearts unite. Sharing our truths, bringing hope to the light. Community strong, we're never alone. Together as one, we've created a home. With laughter and love, we break down the walls. No topics too tough, just heed the call. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. So join the conversation, let's set the tone. In a circle podcast where love is well known.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another powerful episode of the Inner Circle podcast. Today is Wednesday, it's our business segment, and I have two great ladies, excellent, smart ladies, entrepreneurs in their own right here with me tonight. So it's going to be a great show, right? The topic tonight is turning a skill into a business, and these ladies can speak more to that than I can. So that's what we're going to be discussing tonight. But before we get started, first, right, there's a growing community growing on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel, follow us on Facebook, wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere, X, Twitter, LinkedIn, everywhere. We are everywhere. So join the movement. But again, this is and you can also contribute to the conversation by putting a comment in the chat, telling us what skill do you have that you can turn into a business. If you have already done that, you can also contribute to the conversation tonight or call our number 817-600-1525. So Miss B, welcome to the show as my regular co-host on the business segment.
Good evening, everyone. It's your girl, Miss B, and I'm always minding the business that pays me. So today I'm going to I'm out in the field. I'm out Bethel University tonight. And so, we wanted to bring things out in the field tonight. And so I'm reporting to you from Bethel University. I'm here actually at a youth, get this, business camp.
Mm,
Yes, and so we supported some youth to come out here for the next 3 days at Bethel University because that's what we do at Inner Circle Podcast. We are all about the business, and we support the youth to come out here this week, the next 3 days, and getting their entrepreneurship on, learning what it is to open a business, start a business, be an entrepreneur. And so I'm out here in the field today. Good evening, everyone.
okay, thank you. Andrea.
I love it, Miss B. Welcome, everyone. Andrea here. I look forward to an engaging and courageous conversation tonight.
Okay. Well, thank you for that great intro, and thank you, Miss B, for doing what you do for the community, for the youth, and for the kids. Appreciate that. But first of all, I will start with this, though, right? I know it's like there's so many skills in the community, so many skills in the immigrant community, so many talent out there. Why is it that most people we feel like those skills, right? People undervalue themselves, right? Like in starting a business, right? Maybe like someone might be so good at cooking or cleaning or something. But for them to use that to start a business, why is it so difficult in our community? Andrew, I'll start with you and then I'll go to Miss B.
That's a loaded question.
Mhm.
Real loaded.
Okay.
Let me start with saying I think that our community sometimes doesn't know the power that they actually have.
Mm,
When I think about just, the Ghanaian community, so many people can cook, so many people can sew, but they just don't have the skills, the business skills or acumen rather to learn how to sell to people. Like once you can learn how to sell to people, once you can tap into like trends and all of that and the technical stuff, I feel like people can really like make money. And like I get a lot of questions all the time where people are like, how do you manage all these businesses? How do you do all this? It's like I literally took what I really good at and like literally just made it into a business. So like I had a friend of mine that was recommended me like just doing all the maternal child stuff on my own because I was so passionate about it. So I was like, okay, well let me just look into it. And I just started going to conferences. I started meeting people. I started networking. I started educating myself, reading books, started going to conferences. Then I enrolled in school. And then I'm like, well, I have everything I need, you know. And sometimes it's like people want to wait until they have everything they need to like do a business, but like you don't need to do that. And like for me, it's like if I could do it all over again, I would say jump and grow your wings on the way down because you're only
Miss
going to get
B,
better.
yeah,
So
Miss B, what's your thought on that? Do you agree with Andrea? When it comes to that, when it comes to the community, why is it that there's so many skills, so many talents, all I mean, even I mean in the immigrant community, especially the African immigrant community. Why don't we make use of that?
I think it's because we get so used to the norm. The norm is
Mm-hmm,
go to school, get a degree, and transition to working for somebody else, right?
mm-hmm,
And you'll find a lot of the entrepreneurs, it's fine if that is a trajectory, but it's like for how long? And you'll find a lot of the entrepreneurs went that way. And so what I'm saying differently now is okay, if you are going to go that direction, work where you feel passionate about. So you're learning how to do that on your own eventually. Like some of the businesses that we can think about today, the Microsofts and the Amazons, right? Those folks are in fields that they were really passionate about, right? They gain some
mm-hmm,
knowledge and they transition out of that, into opening their own business, right? Oftentimes, you'll see a lot of entrepreneurs, why their business or their company is successful is because it's something they were doing for their 9 to 5 and they transition out of their 9 to 5 to go and do it. Or it's a talent that they just naturally have, like cooking, right? Not a lot
mm-hmm,
of people who are chefs were working as in a restaurant, right? You'll find that because they love to cook, they're really good at cooking. They fed their community. Now they're chefs. But I will say you won't find a lot of chefs managing their own restaurant too. That's the mistake some folks make. There's a difference between creating the product and providing the service and managing the business, right? And so I will say that's why you might find a lot of us are not turning our skills into a business. I'll stop there.
What to Andrea point though, right? Is it also like, are we waiting for the perfect plan? Are we waiting? To have the money, to have the resources, to have the marketing input? Are we waiting for that perfect plan? Where in like, gosh, I need to have all my ducks in a row. I need the financing. I need this. I need that. To Andrea's point, are we waiting for that perfect plan? I will start with you here, Miss B, and then I'll go by to Andrea.
I think so. Even me, like I
Mhm,
was like that for a long time. You have some A type personality people who just need to have things a certain way. And I will find most entrepreneurs are always talking about building the bike and riding it at the same time.
mhm,
Like, just do it. Don't have
mhm,
everything all figured out. And you
mhm,
have, like I said, personalities like mine where I need to have everything organized. I need to have that structure in place, everything thought out and put in a plan before I want to take that leap, right? And it
mhm.
took me a long time to realize that, as somebody who likes to invest in real estate, I can't be like that, right? Because there's so many opportunities I missed out on doing when we got into the real estate game was '09. So many cheap properties were on the market, right? And we took advantage of it, but not to the extent that we should have. We could have been owning like 52 properties by now. I'm telling you, things that are going for $400,000 at some point were being sold for 10,000, $4,000. That's how bad and volatile the market was. But we were new. We were new investors into that real estate market. We were being safe. Yes, we got something great that was new and cheap, and the mortgage was low. We should have capitalized on that on the market at that time, right? But we didn't. And so I've learned from that. And I can see why some folks, want to make sure that they have it all. But I'm advising you as somebody who's been doing this entrepreneur thing, and I think my girl Andrea is alluding to it, just do it. Just really, really, really do it.
Okay. Andrea, so why did you allude to the Nike slogan? Just do it, right? It's like everyone, that's a Nike slogan right there. Just do it. Don't wait for the perfect plan. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Why? How? What made you to come to that conclusion?
Yeah, I mean, I think well, I'm just going to peel it back. You know, when we think about, like, for example, corporate folks, right? We're so
Mhm.
conditioned to working a 9 to 5. We're so conditioned to, like, depending on the benefits,
Mm.
depending on insurance and all, like,
Mhm.
PTO, all that. And like, I just got tired of that. Like, and like, when I say it out loud now, it's like, I was like asking someone, can I take a vacation? And I'm like, what? Like, that is like crazy to me. Like I don't know, like, and I think we're so conditioned to that. But as I started learning more and more about like entrepreneurship, like, you can get your own insurance. You don't have to get, like, you don't have to be working like a 9 to 5 or with an employer to have your own insurance. There's ways to get that. And as I started educating myself more and more, then I was like, okay, I got it. But I just think that, you know, sometimes our community is not really, they don't have the capacity, or they don't have the resources and education on how to like navigate that. And once they get that, hopefully they get access to that, which obviously is another barrier, then
Mhm.
usually you see people kind of take off. But like, I feel like I don't want to say you'll never have everything together, but like, things are going to happen along the way, but like, it's never going to be like 100% right? You know,
Yeah.
you may miss something along the way, but it's not going to be bad. And like, as you're going through the process, you're going to meet people, you're going to make connections, you know. Like, every day I have to like make sure I'm checking my email because somebody has said my name somewhere and they're like, hey, I just want to connect with you. And I'm like having to like say no to sometimes some meetings and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
like, at the same time, before I even took that leap of faith, I was like, okay, I gotta wait. I gotta make sure I got this, I got that. Now it's like, okay, now I gotta kind of calm it down. You know what I'm saying? But these are things I
Mm.
prayed for, so I can't complain. But
Yeah.
I think, just to go back to your point, I think it really is just it's just this it's like we're so conditioned to like depend on the small things like the insurance and benefits, and these things are like, I feel like they keep you hostage, you know. Like,
Mm.
can you imagine like working for yourself, being able to wake up when you want to, go do your things, run around, be with your children, get your time back, all of that. Like, and I think that once people realize that, it's like, okay. But for me, I was like, I'm tired of I like to travel. So I'm like, I'm tired of asking people, can I go take a vacation? That just, it sounds so crazy. Can I go on a vacation? I have to ask you to go on a vacation while I'm helping build somebody's dreams. I was like, nah, son, we're not doing that anymore.
What I mean, you saying it like it's so easy or it's so easy
It's
to
not.
do, right? Yeah, yeah. But we live in a society where in like, as- and then there's a two part. There's a two. That's how I want to take that from it, right? We live in a society where in like, gosh, it's like you need something, right, to make it. You need a regular income, or you need something, right? I mean, to make it. On the other hand, most of us from the immigrant background, right, we're always in a survival mode.
Yeah.
So if you have something that is safe, that is giving you everything that you need, sometimes you don't want to risk it. How do you balance that? And Miss B, I'll go to you on this. Like, how do you balance that? How do you say, oh yeah, it's so easy, it's like you can get insurance as an entrepreneur, but sometimes, the failure rate as an entrepreneur is also high, right? You know what I mean? It's also high. And then the thing is, well, there's so many challenges when it comes to immigrants. How do you navigate that?
So, we have to just do it in a way that makes sense, right?
Mm.
So recently I was reading how these parents, they have turned their garage into a small apartment for their son, invested $60,000 into their garage, right? To turn it into a small apartment so their son can be able to start his business. I I think he has, mind you, the son has gone to college, graduated. I think it's a computer science degree or something like that. So just imagine another Amazon being formed right now as we talk, basically, right? And
Mhm.
his parents are actually supporting that, right? They've already invested $70,000 to turn their garage into a place so their son does not have to worry about not having money to be able to start his business. And so when I say just do it, just make sure that you have the support and everything is aligned as far as, okay, if I'm not going to be able to work right now, how is the roof over my head going to be taken care of? How is, medical bills and all those things going to be taken care of, right? Okay, so a best thing to do is limit the amount of expenses and overhead you have for yourself so that whatever finances you do have, you can start investing into that business and get a lot of information. That's what we don't realize. There are small business departments, organizations. There's community development institutions. These are all free services that you as an aspiring entrepreneur can get, and people don't seek those kind of help, when they're trying to start a business. Those are some of the mistakes that leads to go to entrepreneur class, supporting these youth, 8-year-old, 14-year-old, 18-year-old youth to take a camp for the next 3 days to start learning. So when we say just do it, be informed and knowledgeable when you're doing it, and take in consideration what are the finances you have to, sacrifices you need to make, and you should have in place to do it.
Yeah. Well, folks, tonight we are discussing turning a skill into a business. Today is Wednesday. It's Man, July 9, the summer's going by so fast. So we're discussing a topic tonight, turning a skill into a business. Many people, many folks in our community have so many great skills. And tonight, on our regular business segment, we are discussing and dissecting how to turn that skill into a business. Well, Andrea, though, right? Miss B were alluding to something. Oh, yeah, there's this kid graduated from college, wherever, Ivy League, whatever. His parents are helping him with 70,000. I mean, yeah, we hear that with Steve. All these guys, right? They will say, after college, they have that luxury. Most of us do not have the support system. If I have my skill, you telling me, let's say that. But first of all, I gotta live, right? I gotta pay my rent. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. I don't have anybody to kind of help me with 70,000, or maybe to kind of live in their basement, or to go squat with them, right? It's like I have to figure out something how to turn in trying to turn that skill. I have to be very, very, I have to balance it out, because many of us do not have that support system. So how do you square that with what Miss B is saying, right? Because I think that's a Caucasian thing she's saying there. You go to somebody, yeah, that those things that does not exist in our community. I'm telling you.
It's true. It's true. I that is like obviously everyone's dream to have your, like, if my parents would put me in the garage to do my thing, I would be like,
Oh
this is
man,
great.
come
But
on! I wish,
like,
I
no,
wish, I wish. As I'm
that
sitting
wouldn't
here right
happen.
now, yeah, yeah. Someone put me in the garage, build an apartment for me. So I can run with so many ideas in my head.
Yeah,
So go
but
ahead.
no, what I was gonna say is, obviously when it comes to like our community, some folks don't have it, right? Or maybe they don't have a partner that could take the load and
Hmm.
you do your thing.
Hmm.
My recommendation would be to use your 9 to 5 to slowly invest in your dream, right?
Hmm.
So whether it's 10% of your check or whatever it may be, put that to the side, keep putting it to the side. And as you're going, still build it. You can still, for example, establish your business, whether you're going to do, let's just say you do want to do an LLC, go in, get your LLCs. That's about $155 or so. If you do it electronically, you have that done. And then from there, start building, whether whatever it is, start investing in it, whether if it's classes or training and all of that. At the end of the day, you can still write that off with taxes and stuff like that. But like, use your 9 to 5, to slowly build. And as you slowly start ramping up, once you get enough money or revenue to be able to be on your own, then obviously you can separate. But we're not talking cold turkey. We are saying still just do it, but not necessarily
Hmm.
cold turkey. But
Hmm.
I also think about like now, like, I've been talking to a lot of my friends in just different industries. Right now, especially the political climate, this is a really opportune time. A lot of people are afraid, or like some people are laid off. Some people have already gotten their notices of, not of non-renewal for like next year. But this is a really opportune time to really hone in on your skills. Like, what skills do you really have? Like, take a day, write down like what you're actually truly good at. Like, if you had to sit down and like train somebody on something, what could you do like so well where you don't even have to like look in a book or look at a manual? Like, if you could do
Hmm.
that, you could scale that into a business. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And like, I just take it back to our community. A lot of people are really good at cooking, but they just don't have the business side of it. There's a lot of people that do catering, right? But then they run into the issues with like not having a catering license, right? A lot of places say they want you to have a catering license, got to do all the training. But a lot of people don't know is there's something called a special food and event license. You can
Yeah.
get that through MDH. It's $50. You
Mm.
can do 10 events per year. I think it's like from March to March,
Yeah.
and all you have to do is just fill it out. It takes like 10 minutes to fill out, and they send you a certificate. You can like partake in events, right? So like, let's just say, there's I know that you guys having the Liberian parade coming. If there is an event where it's vendors, you can vend there as long as you have that license.
Mm.
But then obviously if you're going to be doing it on a broader scale. Some places do require that, but start working towards getting like a cottage license. There's stuff online. There's all type of resources, but I just think that folks are just not, they don't understand and they don't know where to go. But like places like NDRC, Neighborhood Development Center, I think it is, in
Yeah.
DC. And then Meta is another company that is really good. They have lots of resources for folks. Score is another. It's typically for anyone that is just wanting to learn. They have a training that I think it's just like Food Business 101. It's free. Literally, it's webinar one. It's a 1
Mm-hmm.
hour webinar, and they literally teach you how to start, take your concept and like scale it like for free. So it's really
Okay.
about just figuring out like where the resources are. Use your 9 to 5 to slowly fund your dream, and telling you at some point when you're ready to go, it will take off. But like when I meet with folks and people just want to network, people always ask, I always just say, whatever you want to do, just do it good, and do it
Mm-hmm.
good by learning, like teaching yourself. YouTube has so many resources. I know it's cliche to say YouTube University, but it does work. I learned a lot. Like I learned how to sew from YouTube, even though
Yeah.
I've been back home. Back home is a little different because they have their own way, but I had to learn the American way. YouTube University has helped me. So, and
Yeah.
then I've been able to use that into my own business. So
Yeah.
I'll land
I'm
there.
glad I'm glad you put a plug in for Meta because Dorothy, who's is the I think the board chair or the executive director of Meta, has
Hmm.
agreed to appear here on the Inner Circle podcast in
Nice.
August. So we're gonna be
Nice.
bringing Dorothy on here. So I'm glad. I think they have great resources, right? And they are really doing some good work. So Dorothy is going to be coming on the Inner Circle podcast sometime in August. We're still trying to work out the arrangement. But what Andrea is saying that here though, Miss B, instead of your route, that kid that has $70,000, she's saying, we should go the side hustle route, right? Is that whatever job you have, whether it's a 9 to 5, or whether you work in a nursing home, or whether whatever job you're working right now, whether you work in a factory, if you have a special skill, right? A lot of people, lot of folks in our community, they are very handy. They have that handy stuff. They can do plumbing, right? They can do so many stuff. If you have that, you can use that as a side hustle, right? And start from there instead of, trying to someone, your mom or your friend to help you with 70K or bill you an apartment. What do you say to that? You on
I
mute. Yeah.
I apologize. So back to my 70,000 thing.
Okay.
What I was basically hopefully you were getting from that is how do you sometimes what people do when they want to start a business is for instance, Nadia's Jamaican Kitchen told me her
Mm,
story,
mm,
sold her house and moved in with her kids. What is she doing right there? She's limiting her expenses to take care of herself, getting rid of her overhead for herself and investing all of that into her business. And that's how she started her kitchen. Her Nadia's Jamaican Kitchen restaurant. Restaurant is doing so well. She's looking at opening another location. And now she is at the Twin Stadium, she's catering for Vikings and all those folks, right? And she's an elder lady, right? But she just knew within herself that she's always dreamed of owning her own restaurant and she wanted to do it. So she made that sacrifice to sell her home, use the money from that to invest in her business, right? So go out and support Nadia's Jamaican Kitchen. Giving her
mm,
a plug here in Brooklyn Park. But that's what I'm trying to say is that when you want to start a business, you will have to look at your expenses and then and try to um minus or limit your overhead. So another thing is I know when us folks like brand people, we don't know how to come together and do business, right?
mm,
And that's
mm,
another way to open a business
mhm,
financially well,
mhm,
right? When
mhm,
you pool the resources of multiple people to come to, so many people can cook. I think right now our market is kind of getting oversaturated with African
mm,
restaurants, right? The
mhm,
competition. And instead of closing these businesses where I'm hearing from folks, that's where they're at. Oh, the traffic is down, business is slow. I'm thinking about closing down. Instead of closing, why don't we think about merging? White companies do it all the time.
mm,
Why don't we think about merging? Why don't we thinking about partnership to grow that business is why some companies do it to grow and to
mhm,
also to make sure not to close that business too, right? Because the community is going to be missing out on that business. So I think we just need to look at different ways in which we can open business, stay in business, and do business together.
Okay, okay. I mean, that's a great point, definitely. Yeah. Collaboration, teamwork. I think that's something that's lacking in the community, and we can bring that, and we can work on that. That would be great. But what are some of the marketable skills you guys notice in the immigrant community? I know the two of you travel a lot. What are some of the marketable skill, easy skill that folks can turn into businesses or into a profitable business or into a business? Andrew, I will start with you. I know there's so much out
I'm
there.
gonna piggyback off of Miss
Yeah.
B's comment.
Hmm.
I actually am eating Nadia's food tonight. Like we ordered that for dinner. So shout out to Nadia because her food, we love her food. We're eating that for dinner tonight. And I have to touch upon the collaboration. That is such, I feel like it's such a downfall. Um, I feel like there's so, like you said, it's super oversaturated in the food business and it's super siloed, and like when I think about it's funny because when I think about like the Ghanaian community, we go one place to get kenke, we go one place to get shito, we go one place to get certain pepper, all that. Like in my mind, I'm like, y'all could all be under one roof getting money. You know what I mean? But again, just sometimes it can be ill-informed, or sometimes it's like, it's every man for themselves sometimes in our world sometimes, and obviously you don't necessarily always go far. But when I think about marketing skills, obviously, I mean, the one thing I think about obviously is cooking, right? Sewing is a big thing. And like, I don't like, at least I know like here, so many people can sew. Like I know if I need something, I have so many different people that could do things, but I haven't seen anybody that has really truly mastered like a true like business around it, like a true business framework. But once someone can get that, I think that they'll really do it. There's a woman by the name of Pam D. I think a lot of people know her. She sews a lot of clothes. She sells them on Instagram. Beautiful work. I remember like years ago, I started following her, and she was like slowly starting out, and then she's kind of built an empire where she has people that sew for her, and then she's like the designer now. So she doesn't even do it by hand. She's the designer. So like you said, Miss B, she's not necessarily like doing it. She's just overhead now because she's done all the work to get to where she needs to be. So she has a whole team, but she's really mastered how to sew clothes for folks. So instead of like, back home, they measure you, do all that extra stuff. She don't have time for that. Right. So she scaled
Hmm.
it in a way where she found like the standard sizes. So like standard US, standard UK, and then kind of got a conversion chart, but she sews her clothes like that. So you can literally say, okay, I'm a standard, medium United States. And she has like her UK sizing chart. And literally that is what you get. Like she has found like the patterns and all that to get those sizes. And sometimes depending on, when you get it, you might be too short, or you might be too, like for me, I'm a little short sometimes. So I might say take an inch off because I know how long, but she has her standard size, but it's not bad, but it's perfect. And she's mastered that. Whereas some folks, it's just a whole game rigmarole.
Yeah.
A lot. But
Yeah.
I would say sewing, I would say cooking. The tech world is really taken off. Africans have been in the tech world for a long time, but I think they're slowly starting to really take off. Like software engineers, we're starting to see a lot more software engineers that are coming from like Google and other companies. I would say finance is a whole nother thing. Like finance is big. There's a lot more CPAs that I'm starting to see coming out, and I think they've actually gone and actually got their license and certificate, which is
Hmm.
good to
Hmm.
really see. And then I think about like even back home, growing up, like my uncle was a mechanic. I think about like mechanics, like good with their hands. There's a lot more people that are doing some of the trade jobs, like carpentry and plumbing and all of that. I feel like I read an article the other day too that said like carpentry and electricians, they're like literally like leading right now because there's not enough, so they can actually set their own prices. So they're like making like 150 to 200K, like, and mind you, this is not with a degree or anything like that, but because there's such a shortage, they're able to make their own prices now, and there's still going to be a shortage in like the next 10 years. So those are some of those trade skills are like really the big things to go by. And you got people trying to buy homes. People are going to naturally need help to like redo their homes or
Hmm. Hmm.
build their homes and stuff like that. So it's something to
Yeah.
think about. But those are the things I can think
Well,
off the top of my head.
and that's great, right? I'm glad you brought up electrician, right? I mean, I'm trying to change the lights in my house, and the guy like charged, he was charging like $300 per hour because the folks that did my stuff, right? It's like $300 per hour. He keep me only spend like, I won't even say 5 minutes, 5 minutes.
And he could do
Okay.
that because there's a shortage. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, so to the folks out there, it's not hard to go and get that license, that electrical license. I don't think it's hard. But I do, right? That Caucasian dude charged me like $300. I'm looking at him like for 5 minutes of work, dude. five
And
minutes of work.
trucking,
You actually
trucking
going
too.
to you actually
Sorry.
going to charge me that. Okay, chucking. Miss B, anything to add to that list, right? Because that's the thing. I think one of the great thing about this platform and this day, this Wednesday, right, is like these are the kind of thing I like, right? But anything you want to add to that list, because they are great, these are things easy. I mean, to become an electrician, right, or become a plumber, easy. You can easily get your own business from. But
Yeah,
is there anything you
I
want
was
to add
gonna
to that list?
piggyback. I was gonna piggyback on that. Electrician and plumbing, there is a huge shortage, right? When we think about the baby boomers
Mhm.
retiring, right? There is a huge shortage, and it's an easy field that in there, learn, pick up some skills, go work for a plumbing company, go work for an electrician, go like work for Excel Energy for a little bit, and then transition out and open your own company, right? So those are some of the skills that are easily transferable into opening and establishing your own company. Because what happens is a lot of these bigger companies, when the jobs get too, it's overwhelming and they don't have the capacity in house, they reach out, externally.
Okay, Miss B. But anyway, I think I
Can you hear me?
yeah, go ahead. I keep buffering in and out, but go ahead.
My internet is acting up.
Yeah. Go ahead. We can hear you.
No, I want to say that professional service jobs are huge need. When I'm talking about professional service job, people who work for a city, a county, or the government, huge need right now. The president professional service jobs. That's where your intellectual property can be taken from your job and utilized to open your own business. Consultancy. Believe it or not, government contracts a lot of consultants. You would think with all the people they hire working their 9 to 5 on a daily basis, why do they still look for consultants outside of the company or the city or the county to do that work? Because their capacity, the brain capacity is not always there. So government contracts are plentiful out here for consultancy. And so I think that's one of the big skills I'm going to tell people to do. Take your professional service career and turn it into entrepreneurship, turn it into a consultancy. And it's something you can easily do and still have your 9 to 5, keep it for your medical, and transition into your consultant firm. I know that's what I've been doing over the years, right? I'll say, okay, let me supplement my income by getting maybe a additional 30 or $60,000 contracts outside of my 9 to 5, right? And sometimes I may do that in partnership with other consultants, or if it's a contract I can handle by myself, that's another $60,000 I brought in, almost equivalent to another full-time job through my consultancy firm.
Abe, you froze. Miss B, can you hear me?
I can hear you guys fine.
Okay. I can't hear Abe, so I'm sorry if I'm talking over, but you froze on my end.
Abe is frozen on my end too.
Okay. Well, I was just gonna let me piggyback off of what you said. I definitely agree with just the trade. Like I've been reading up on it. It's like interesting, and then thinking about what has happened in more recently about the folks that have been in Job Corp. That I just know, like I know a lot of folks. Like I grew up in St. Paul, so I know a lot of folks that really depended on Job Corps to
Yes.
really just thrive, and they're thriving now, and like to have that taken away, like I was like it just is, it's crazy. But like you could still learn. Again, YouTube University, I know a lot of folks that like learn from their fathers who learned from their fathers, and so with
Summit
folks.
OIC, as people are listening. I don't know if you know for Summit OIC, and it's free.
Oh yes,
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 yep,
that's good. That's a good one. I know a lot of
yes.
people. I saw some stuff like I think last summer too that they were doing for folks. But yeah, like trade jobs are, that's it. Like the baby boomers are getting older, they're going to need more resources, they're going to need more help at some point.
Yes,
So yes,
yes.
there's money there. So
Okay, sorry
Welcome
there,
back,
folks.
Abe.
Yeah, I got kicked out of studio. I got kicked out of the studio. But anyway, so I think I think professional services consulting, I mean, those are great. Like the two of you just listed, some great stuff. For folks to know, we are discussing turning a skill into a business. And I told you this, these two ladies, man, they are very smart. You know, they're on top of their game, and they are giving some great. They are dropping some great gems here tonight. But yes, to do right is like people have all these skills and want to turn it into a business. How do they get started? Right? A lot of people don't know. As I said, they think about our people. We don't go and seek out information. And one of the things I'm excited about this platform, one of the things we do here great, right, is to bring resources, information back to the community. But how do folks get started, right? If I have a maybe like, if I want to start my business as a side hustle or whatever, how do I get started? Andrea.
Good question. I keep thinking about when Ali came and all the gems that he dropped, but I think the biggest thing is like when I think about our people, I think sometimes we're afraid to fail, right? We don't want to fail, but you have to be comfortable with failing forward. And for me, I love failing because I learn from it and I can laugh about it and grow from it. And I think once I got over like failing or like just like thinking about what other people are going to think, I just started taking off. And I think that was like the biggest barrier for me. But like starting a business, I feel like sometimes you just got to sit down and like literally hone in on like what it is that you want to do. So let's just say I'm just going to use cooking because that's probably what most like this probably the easiest thing right now. But cooking, like if you're good at cooking, right? Think about like what you would like to sell. Like, do you want to open up your own business or do you want to cater? Like, how do you want to do it? Right. I think it's important to like think about like what it is that you actually want to accomplish or what do you want to solve. Once you have what you want to solve, then that's where you can start kind of making your business plan. But the biggest thing is making sure that you establish your business, and I think that like we could probably talk about this on a whole nother segment, but like establishing your business, whether you want to do an LLC or whether you want to do, I don't
Mhm.
know, a firm or what have you, but there's different implications from a tax standpoint that you have to be aware of. And so it could be simple as maybe even taking a business 101 class. I
Mhm.
know the is it Department of Commerce or Secretary of State, I can't remember. They have free things online or resources online where you can actually meet with someone like one-on-one and they can kind of help walk you through on how to like set up a business.
Mhm.
They have resources online where you can actually just watch videos.
Okay.
You can take a class. But I would really start there. Just be informed a little bit more so that you're not kind of scrambling because it could be super overwhelming. And entrepreneurship is it's not easy, right? So it's good to like educate yourself, have a baseline
Mhm.
understanding of like what is that you want to do, and then from there you can kind of start working through it. The other thing is there's quite a few different like startup
Mhm.
like fellowships and like um kind of cohorts that are happening in the Twin Cities that are literally like groups that are literally sometimes are even giving you money as a new entrepreneur to like start up, but your commitment would be to like make those meetings, meet with mentors, give them your time, and then they actually give you seed money to actually sometimes start up. Those
Okay.
are really good opportunities too, as well, if you're starting a new business as well.
Okay. One of the things you guys talk about here, and I think is fascinating, right, is about mindset shift, right? Is like how can we, in so many areas, right? Whether it's collaboration, whether shifting our mindset from a hustle to a business. How can a community do that? How can we do that? How can we begin to have that mindset shift, right? And like in so many areas. Miss B, I'll start with you.
I feel like I think we really are already having that mindset shift. When I think about
Mm.
the Inner Circle podcast and the panelists, I've been introduced to a whole new group of folks that I didn't know, right, through this podcast. And
Mhm.
so, and to see how, everybody here has, landed somewhat towards this um, passion about entrepreneurship, right? Even though some folks may still be in their 9 to 5, but everybody's on this cuff of exploring what this could look like, what this could be, right? And I think when you even think beyond the Inner Circle podcast on a regular basis, I'm talking to people who are thinking about starting a business, African
Mhm.
immigrants. My organization, ACER, African Career Education and Resource Inc., our economic and community development work is solely based upon working with African immigrant businesses, not exclusively, but intentionally, right? 75% of maybe a market of 300 businesses that we our own businesses. So I feel like a lot of folks, especially the women, and we're talking probably been in business for the last 10 years, been entrepreneurs. Any type you think about working with them,
Okay.
the try
Okay. As Miss B is buffering in and out, Andrea, help me out here. Help me. Help us. Help your girl out. What before I come in here? Help her get out because she's buffering in and out here. You on mute. You on mute, Andrea.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah.
Miss B, do you want to finish? Can you
I
hear
can
us?
hear you.
Do you want to
Okay.
finish your thought?
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
basically saying, I think we're there. I think we're there. We should just continue to push us. We're in that mindset now. I think we should just continue to push each other.
Okay. Okay. Andrea.
I wholeheartedly agree. And I think just with all that's happening too, I think people are starting to really hone in and like think about things, right? Because you never
Mm-hmm.
know like what could happen the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. So people are really trying to put up safeguards and really make sure that they have safety nets for themselves. And so we're starting to see a shift. Um, I'm starting to also see, folks like put one foot in entrepreneurship, still keep one foot in 9 to 5, which is good, slowly starting to figure out like what that looks like. But I would encourage folks to go to mixers, go to like networking mixers, go to small business mixers, because you'll never know who you're gonna meet. And like I've met a lot of amazing people. And now, if I have someone reach out, say, hey, I need this, hey, I need that, hey, I need this type of, I can just move, and like I know who I'm going to because I've built that network up. But I think that one of the things for our community is really just actually going and meeting people. That's like,
Okay.
I know it sounds weird, but like go out and meet people, go out into the community and actually be out there so you can actually
Mm-hmm.
kind of have an ear to like what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And follow the money. Like there are a lot of people that, sit at the state level that I meet all the time. I know if I need to get some stuff done, I know who I can talk to at least to get like people listening. But
Mm-hmm.
like connect with folks that are at top levels and just get
Okay.
an understanding of like what power they have. Not to say like you're a mooch or anything like that, but the folks that need to be aware of like what you're trying to solve is it's
Yeah.
really important.
Okay. The other thing though, right, is like before I get, I think there are a lot of challenges I mean, in the community. There are a lot of challenges, right, when it comes to starting this business thing, when it comes to turning a skill into a business. There are a lot of challenges. What do you think are some of the common challenges in our immigrant community? What are some of the common challenges that is stopping folks, right? So folks have these great skills, they have these great ideas, I mean, a lot of barriers out there. Whether you want to, agree or not, a lot of barriers out there. And sometimes folks are afraid to take that leap, because of so many challenges. What are some of the common challenges that keeps folks from just, taking that leap? Andrea.
I'm going to say, I think, in my opinion, I think funding is a big thing. We always think about money. Money is always a big barrier. It's always huge.
Mm-hmm.
I think money or funding rather to start your business is a huge barrier. Access to resources. When I say resources, I mean technology, access to being able to like create a web page or
Mm-hmm.
create a website or email address, all of those small, like, I don't want to say small things because I think about people that just don't have access or know what it is. But those are things that sometimes I don't think we think about. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you're going to be catering and have a cooking business, have a website so people can actually go to your website, see your work, they can see what you've done. And they can vouch for you. But if you just are like, hey, I cook, I don't know if you can really cook. Like maybe someone might like your food, but like have something to show for. So I would definitely say funding is definitely something that's an issue. But again, there are resources. You can connect with folks like NDC, connect with folks like Meta. There's tons of grants that are out there. I think you just have to take the time to like apply for them. And that's the other thing. Take a class in grant writing. I think that's so crucial. A lot of people don't think about it. And for me, like it took time. And then eventually, like I started taking classes in it and like doing webinars, and I started getting good at it. And then I started getting them and I was like, okay, this is working. But like you have to invest in yourself too. So invest in
Okay.
yourself. and try to find folks that maybe have access to what you need and like
Yeah.
use it as leverage. But funding is always, in my opinion, the biggest barrier.
No, obviously, right? And something, well, I mean, why you brought a funding issue to as well, right? I mean, I know you have been alluding to it here. Networking. I think most of us in the community, we don't like to network. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, even me sitting here, I'm guilty of that, right? It's like we don't like to get out there to, to engage, right? And sometimes we like to keep in our comfort zone. And once you are in your comfort zone, as you said, you won't be talking to the right, you might not be talking to the right people. You might not be connecting with the right people. So I think networking, however way, and most of us, it's because of the background we are from, right? Networking doesn't come naturally to us
Mhm.
versus someone that was born and raised in this country, right? Or a Caucasian kid, that, watch his parents, right? Work in that room, right? Work in those rooms and things like that, right? It's like networking doesn't come naturally to us. So I
Yeah,
think networking is one of the huge challenges in our community that, because sometimes you might have the funding, but if you don't, if you're not doing it, if you don't have the right connect,
it's
I mean,
true.
yeah, if you don't have that right connect, right, it's like things might not pan out the way you expect them to.
It's true. It's true.
Mhm,
I wholeheartedly agree.
mhm,
It's so true.
mhm. The other thing, right? The other thing though about this whole turning a skill into a business is our community, right? Where you have that skill. Let's know I'm a plumber, I'm an electrician, or I'm a handy person that can actually maybe fix stuff in a house. In a community, are folks supportive enough? Because sometimes that's some of the thing. Hey, if I rather maybe call a Caucasian company to come and do my roof versus right, hey, versus maybe if a friend of mine or someone in the community has a roofing company, I might say,
Yeah.
oh it's like, I might be afraid. It's like I might be, there's that thing. How do we have that mindset shift? They look, because maybe before other folks begin to trust me, my community has to trust me first. Where do
That's true.
we, how do we balance that? How do we navigate those challenges?
That's a loaded question. I got lots of thoughts on both sides of the pond.
Right.
I sometimes we can be our own worst enemy, in my
Hmm.
opinion. And I say that because, like Miss B said before, there's a lot of opportunities to really collaborate, right? And we miss out on the bag, or the money rather, from
Hmm.
not doing that.
Hmm.
Um, I will say that, in my opinion, for example, your example of, like, let's just say it's a plumber, right? And someone would rather go to, a Caucasian person or someone else that they feel is more qualified, but more than
Hmm.
likely they're probably gonna take your money
Yeah.
because maybe, I think it's twofold, in my opinion. I feel like the person that's the plumber, try to find ways to really promote your business in a
Hmm.
way that in a way that touches your community, right? And sometimes, like I said before, we can be our own worst enemy, but it's marketing, right? How are you marketing? Are you reaching like your market, like your target market? Like, how are you like interacting? And this, again, it means going out to networking. Are you, like, for example, if I'm a plumber, right, and I know that there's, like, Acer just had an event. If I'm a plumber and I know Acer have an event, or there's a community event that my target market's going to be at, I'm going to be there. Like, I might not have a table, but I can pass out flyers. I can introduce myself. I mean, this is boots on the ground type stuff. Like, you have to do that work. And so when it comes around, someone will say, oh, I remember I met this person at the Acer event and they gave me their card. Let me call them and connect with them and chat with them. But you can't necessarily expect someone to, like, just pick up a phone and call you just because, like, you're African or what have you. In my opinion, that's just how it goes. And then, like, when I think about, like, how I
Yeah.
even choose, like, if I'm going to choose like a plumber, like, I'm a little biased. I'm probably looking for a black plumber. Like, I try to support black businesses, but what I will do is I'll look for a business. If they're super reputable, I will look and see if there's a black plumber and I will request them. And typically I will ask them, I call and ask them questions like, like, here's what my issue is. Maybe here's what my issue is. Like, what do you know about this? Just to kind of vet them. You have to still vet them because it's your money, but still, I try to put money back into their pockets if I can. But again, going back to your question, I think it's about self promotion, really connecting with your target market. Like, I think about, like, one of my
Hmm.
businesses
Yeah.
I sell African inspired goods and accessories. I don't necessarily try to sell you a gift. Like if you come to my tent, I'm not going to sell you. I want to know who you are, get to know you, who you are, connect. And then more than likely, they're going to buy something because we had a nice conversation. I have people that buy stuff all the time, but they're probably not going to use it. But because I engaged them and we had such
Yeah.
a meaningful conversation, they wanted to put money in my pocket because of just that one conversation versus me just expecting
Yeah.
them to buy something.
But we have to face the reality though, right? When we have to be honest, we don't like to pay for services and talent. African immigrant
That
community, we don't
part.
like to pay,
That part.
we don't like to pay for services and talent. And so you might be talking here, hey, like you promote, I don't care how much you promote yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. As I said, but there are probably a lot of African immigrant electrician that I could have easily call maybe to come and do my stuff, right? But we don't like to, he might charge me the same thing. I might say, oh no, it's too expensive.
Mm.
Miss B.
I mean, all those things. Like this is the thing I tell everybody, or my husband likes to say. We like to think the white man's ice is colder. Ice is ice. I think we need to get that into our heads. Ice is ice. And I say that white entrepreneurs have the same struggles within their community.
Mm,
So, as a black entrepreneur, don't think you're only having this problem with your black community. White entrepreneurs are having the same problem with their white community. And that's just what it is. Right? Consumers understand how it is to be a consumer. Business people understand how it is to be a business owner. And the moment you leave from becoming a consumer and you turn and become that business owner hat, you value in getting paid what you're worth, understanding that you're charging according to the market. That's what the market is charging, right?
mm-hmm.
You start to see things differently. But when you're that consumer, of course you're going to want to get it as cheap as possible, but you want to get it the most quality thing for the cheapest price, right? And so the market is a market for a reason, right? And we're all going to be there bartering and trading and selling our product, selling our service, right? And you just got to understand some key things when you're an entrepreneur. It's like who, what, where, right? Like what is the problem you're trying to solve? Who are you solving it for, and where are they?
Mm,
Yeah. And so when you understand those three things, it doesn't matter that Abraham wants it cheap. Even just because I'm black and he's black, he's going to want it cheap. And it doesn't matter that Andrea is going to feel like, oh, well, she can cook, I can cook, so she and I would just be competitors. Or you know what? Why does she want to cook now? Because now that I want to cook. Those things are always going to be in the market. It's competition for a reason, right? But it's good to be informed and be aware that stuff, that kind of hateration exists, unfortunately. And be prepared for the customers that are going to negotiate and try to bargain you down. It's going to happen. Yes. And you know what prevents that from happening? When you set up a structure like a Walmart or a Target, you have your prices easily advertised, right? And you can push out large volumes. Then you don't have to worry about the people who are going to walk into Walmart and say, you know what, you're too cheap. I mean, you're too pricey for me. I'm going to go to the Dollar General, right? Because everybody has their other option. And so I don't have a problem with all those things, all those stereotypes, all those nuances that are in our community. As an entrepreneur, I know it's everywhere and I can't let it stop me. And I don't want folks to let that stop them either.
yeah. But the
I
other
got to
thing that,
chime in.
yeah, yeah, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Sorry, you hit it on the head with that. Like I think about even just like going to my business, the African inspired gifts and accessories. Everybody's doing the same thing, but like I have a different model than everybody. So like people always say, "Aren't you worried about so and so across from you selling?" No, because I know I have completely different market. I know when I pick out my fabric, I'm not going to the market and just picking up and put it in the bag and get it on a plane. No, it's different. Like I have a whole market, and so I put value into my business. And when it comes to the pricing, that's like so key. Like I can't tell you how many people want to barter, right? We come from a community that wants to barter and do all things. I even have people ask to trade. I'm like, no. Like, and when I start breaking down, like I have to go and pick my fabric. I have someone that sews it. I have to do the designing. I do all these things. And then I have shipping and all these things. And then I also talk about vision. Like you're paying for my vision. You're not just paying for the thing. So when I think about that, and I think about even art, like artists, they charge based on their vision. When they draw these things, they could probably do it in 5 minutes, but it's the vision. Like, they go to school or they may be self-taught, whatever, but it's a vision. Whether you're in a technical skill or what, think about like going to school and how much it costs. You invested in that. So
Mm-hmm.
when people do come to me about pricing, I politely say, unfortunately, I don't do that. But to your point, I make sure on my table I have price tags. They don't even ask. Like, now it's like they don't ask because it's here. Sometimes they'll say, okay, what's the lowest you'll go? And I said, it's the lowest I'll go is what's on the price tag. And I make sure all my stuff is labeled. I don't get no questions. Nobody bothers me, and it is what it is. And I make a sale. So to your point, you can't be looking at the next person. I think there's a couple years ago where Michael Phelps was swimming, and his competitor at the time was like watching over his shoulder, making sure and seeing if he was there. And what happened? He got sucked up. He lost because he was worrying about what Michael Phelps was going to do. Michael Phelps was looking straight forward, and he did his thing and won his race. And so keep your eye on the prize and keep doing it. It doesn't matter if the next person is making jollof rice. Make jollof rice, but do yours good. Figure out,
Yes.
add chicken to it, add some vegetables to something different. Find a way to stand out. And like you said, figure out where the people are figure out who your target market is and figure out where they are and be there. And it
Yeah.
is what it is.
Well, you
Yeah.
guys are making it look so easy tonight, but hey, I'm gonna keep telling you guys, you know what I mean? Turning this skill into a business and having a smooth sailing, right? A lot of things that folks, that's what we are discussing tonight, turning a skill into a business. This is our business segment. You can contribute, put in a comment in the chat, calling our number 817-600-1525. These two ladies picking their brain tonight, they are dropping some great gems. But a lot of things though, I mean, I gotta be honest here. Endurance and staying with it in our community is a thing. That
Mm-hmm.
thing you're talking about, you will reject a Caucasian person 1 million times. They will keep coming back at you. They will
Yes.
keep coming back at you.
Yes.
You do that to an African immigrant one or two times, three times, you're not going to see them ever again. Ever again, they're going to disappear. So I know you guys preaching some great preaching here tonight, but endurance and staying with it is a thing that we struggle with in our community. How can we work on that?
I'll use myself right now. I made an investment into a property in 2022. I have not made any money off this property since April of 2023. It is getting hard to offload this property. Am I going to stop investing in properties? Hell no.
Hmm.
I'm every day I look on the MLS online. I got Crexy. I'm subscribed to everything real estate. I am always looking for my next property. And so folks, in business, number one thing is not going to always be successful. Even as a property owner, a landlord, I'm dealing with tenants not paying rent. I may be dealing with properties that are just sitting down. You know, I'm dealing with all of those. But man, I love being in the car, driving in a neighborhood or passing by a building and thinking, man, what can I do with that if I own it? Right. And so, like Abraham said, you can look, growing wealth is not for the weak. It's not. And owning a business is not for everybody. It really isn't. There's some people who shouldn't have never gone into that venture, right? But with that being said, you cannot be scared of hearing a million no's before you get to that yes. You cannot want to get out of something because it gets hard. Jobs get hard. Bosses get hard. Managers get hard. Colleagues get hard. Sometimes people have a huge turnover. They bring in a new CEO. So everything is forever changing, whether you're in a 9 to 5 or you own your own business. You cannot give up. Just gave you a plain example of myself. I'm still trying to sell this condo, but I'm looking for that next property already because somebody said something very important tonight. And he said, do you guys know what the great wave is? Do you guys know what the great wave is? The great
Hmm.
wave. He said, the great wave is happening right now where trillions and dollars of wealth is transitioning because these baby boomers are getting old. A lot of them don't have a session plan of how they're going to transfer that business, but it's happening right now, folks. The most amount of wealth that has ever been transferred in this country is happening right now in the next 5 to 10 years. And we don't want to miss out on this wave, folks. So don't be scared. You're going to be defeated at times. It will be ebbs and flows, but this is the time more than ever to take a risk. Even in real estate, even with the high interest rate, things are selling cheap. Find your friends, find your family members who want to do it and jump in. Just do it.
Okay, I know you're talking about a great wave, 5 to 10 years, and we already missing out. I mean, that's all that. Are we already
That's why I
if
said it's
it's
happening
happen if it is
now, and it's
happen?
going to continue to happen in the next for
Okay,
the next 5 to 10 years, trillions and trillions of dollars, and we'll miss out
okay,
if we're not
okay,
prepared to step in.
okay.
I gotta add to that because I've been seeing videos like on Instagram too, and to your point with the baby boomers, um, like there's a lot of folks that are like, for example, like college students. Some of them are not even finishing college and they're buying like car washes and they're buying like laundry mats because those folks are either getting too old to run them or they just didn't have anybody next in line to take over, and they're buying them for pennies and making bank. Like I'm
Yeah.
like I like this. I follow this guy, and he bought. I think he bought it maybe for like I don't know, like 100K. He probably put in 20K to renovate it, and like the amount of money he makes like a week. I'm like, why in my mind, like why didn't I think about that? But like I'm starting to see some car washes pop up. The one thing too that I thought about years ago, but even now could be lucrative is like vending machines. I know it's something small, but that adds up. Like vending machines, if you can take some time to learn about the vending machine business or even the courier business, that's one thing that's recession proof. People are always going to need organs, people are always going to need pharmaceuticals, people are always going to need mail, people are always going to need tools. Like the courier business, that is another a venture that I will say, if you are really wanting to do something, look into that. It doesn't take much. You just have to have your own car, a reliable car. You have to take a quick HIPAA training and then go from there. You could go work for someone and learn the ropes first before you do your own thing. But those are some things, like there's money out there. So ride those waves. There's a lot of things out there that that is happening. Real estate too, that's a big thing. Like I want to get into it, but I'm just like, some days I'm just like, ooh, I got to slow down on what I'm doing. But there's money in there, like Miss B said, for real.
I want to
Yep.
piggyback on the courier business. Amazon vans, we have them on our lot. So see us, Vons Auto, Minnesota. I'm going to plug us right now. We have a lot of those Amazon vans, and Amazon is an easy thing to get into, right? So they're doing third-party contracts. Again, you're thinking, oh, Amazon's a big company. They don't have the capacity to carry and transport and drop off all their things themselves. They just don't. But what is a good part of their model is that just in time. Walmart was one of the first people to do the just in time. Amazon has taken that to a whole nother level. Like right now, you can do your return at Kohl's, you can
Yep.
pick up your product at DSW, and
Yep.
so anywhere at any given time, Amazon can make a product available for a customer because that's their model. They want that thing to get in Andrea's hand today. They don't even want her to wait 24 hours, right? And so they are giving contracts out to people who have transportation or courier businesses. Come see us, Vons Autos. We have a lot of Amazon vans. We've been buying a lot of them because people have been buying a lot of them from us who are in the transportation and courier business.
Okay, okay.
Nice.
Well, folks, tonight we are discussing turning a skill into a business. We'll drag this a little bit more than we'll try to close in. But here's the thing though, about all these great ideas. But Andrea, one of the things I was trying to, piggyback on with you is this whole idea of endurance and staying with it, right? Endurance and staying with it. I want to hear your thought on that because I think, all these great ideas you guys are saying, oh yeah, come and do it and stuff like that. An African immigrant man might start something here and there today, right? The only people that really endure, I think, if we say maybe in our community, sometimes you might see the Nigerians might endure, right? It's like these folks, they might have something, it might not be working right now, but they will stay with it. But a lot of other folks from other parts, once you tell them no 1 or 2 times, once they are struggling, or it's like they don't stay with it, right? It's like they just give up.
Yeah. So the first thing that I always think about is, for example, like a lot of people always want to partner and do things with me, and I always ask questions because typically what I see is everyone's always excited about starting a new business, but when the endurance has to happen, that's where things get changed, right? So I always ask, what does your endurance look like, or what how do you handle like some of the challenges during the hard times or the down times? Because success is always, it's a wavy, it's not a straight shot, right? And so um to be Miss B's point, you have to just keep sticking with it. Like I always talk about like getting good at it. Like even though I'm in the maternal child health space, I am doing training. Like last week, or is it 2 weeks ago? I did a training at MDH. Did a training. They did a vision and hearing screening training. A lot of it was medical based, and there were some nurses on it. But like eventually, at some point, I would love to open up my own early childhood screening center or something with children. But that's a skill that I could actually pick up. And I did the training. I invested in myself, and now I learned it, so I can actually do hearing and vision screenings for children. So these are the things that I'm slowly building, but you have to invest in yourself slowly. And it's not gonna, the success is not always gonna come at a time that when you actually always need it. But like as you continue, like for me, like I said, at first I was like slowly working around. Like my mom, this is funny. My mom's Ghanaian woman, old Ghanaian woman. My mom always told me, she said, if you go into a room, you don't have to tell people who you are. You don't have to tell people who you are. Obviously, introduce yourself, do your thing. But at some point, people will find out who you are. And that, like, it's not like she wasn't saying, like, that's how you know you made it, but like, that's how you know you're doing good. And so now I have to, sometimes I like cringe when I have to go out and network because although I'm like extroverted, I'm like extroverted, introverted, right? Like, I like to go out and be there, but like, don't be all in my stuff like that. And so sometimes I'm like, oh my God, so many people like, Andrea. And I'm like, okay, this is a lot. But I know that my work is meaningful. It's actually reaching the right people that I've been
Mm-hmm.
wanting to reach. And so I can't run from that now. But like I said before, it's taken time. It's taken a couple of years. I've met people, I've put in the work, I've done some of my due diligence, but I keep going. And I think that's where, to your point, Abe, if it doesn't work, people stop. You have to keep going. Like Miss B got her first house probably years ago. She didn't just stop because she got that house. She's going to continue to build. She's always thinking about what's next, right? She's driving down the street. Oh, I could put a house
Mm-hmm.
here, or I could put
Mm-hmm.
something here, or I can partner with somebody here. She's always thinking about the next thing. And so I think, to me, that's what endurance looks like, right? You're continuing to vision, like you're putting together your vision of like what your life or your career could be like, but on your own. And I think if you have that stamina, things are always going to fall in place. You'll never not eat, if that makes sense. But you have to be passionate about it. You have to want to do it. And that's the other thing. Like, I think in our community, sometimes some people will be like, oh, so and so's cooking, I'm gonna cook too because I saw that it's successful. But do you really want to cook? Are you
Mhm,
really good at it? Like, you
mhm.
know what I mean?
You,
So find something that's actually like that you're actually really good at, not just because the next person is doing it. Because at the same time, I always think about like not all money's good money. So fast money is not always good money either, too. You know what I mean?
mhm.
So I think that's also sometimes a challenge that we face too.
I think you just brought something right there. I think that was my next. That was the next segue right here. You have in our community, once one person is doing something, I think about this going to the used car dealer lot, or maybe or maybe once someone, or maybe the cooking business you guys are talking about here tonight. Once someone is cooking, everybody want to cook.
Mhm.
Everybody want to cook. Or someone's like, as I said, it's like Miss B, I know you're into the car business, but what's the thing almost every immigrant right now is doing is like going to the car lot. You know what I mean? It's like everyone's doing that stuff. You
So
know?
there's a difference between having a car lot and having a dealer's license. A
Yes.
Okay.
lot of
There
people
you
have a, yes, let's differentiate. A
Okay.
lot of people have a dealer's license. And what they do is on their spare time, or they'll probably buy up to 4 vehicles and have it in their driveway at their house. We have a lot. We have a car lot. We have a car lot at any given time. We own 60 vehicles on
Yeah.
our car lot that
Here's
are not
here's
our personal vehicles that we're driving. So
here's
yes,
what
there's a
here's
difference.
here's what I'm trying to drive at though, right? Once someone is maybe like, okay, the group home business, right? Okay, here's that. I mean, here's one of it. Everyone wants to get into that business. In our community, or there's something else. Once someone's making money, everyone wants to go into that. Why? I've been thinking like, oh, it's like someone will come to you. Oh yeah, this thing makes money. Come into. I said, I asked myself why. Why do I have to go into that? Even if I have the resources to go into it, because it might be something that might make me money, but that's
Because
not
there's
something.
370 something million people in this country, Abraham.
So,
You need
so,
multiple businesses to
oh,
be
okay.
able to cater to that mass of people.
So
Uh,
you don't think we're in
Otherwise,
like
this economy
you
will
don't
only
think
function
you
over
don't
one of each
no no no
business will exist in the industry.
no, I'm not saying that, but you don't think, what I mean, so you don't have any problem with the phenomenon once someone is gets into something, right? Everyone's following suit.
No, we
No,
do
okay.
that too, right? People
Hmm.
come and they get
Hmm.
underneath our dealer's license. So technically, like you see how a salon owner will have individual hairstylists, we
Hmm.
have independent dealers underneath our license.
Okay.
We have about 9 different people underneath our license.
Andrea, what's your thought on this? Because this was the same as B that said why businesses are not merging. You have all the Kobo shop. You got to call
And
them
I-
Kobo
and,
shop
and I can
now.
elaborate. So now now what we could have done is you can say either we're helping 9 businesses to exist, and these 9 businesses now can help other 9. And so we're keeping our community employed to an extent. We're actually helping to grow more entrepreneurs in our community. It's how you
Mm,
can look at it too, right?
mm,
And maybe another part can say, okay, we have all these competitors too, because some dealers come, they learn from us, they grow, and then they go underneath their own belt. But not everybody can afford to be fully individual, and that's why we have so many people under us. We pay for workers' comp, we have the bonds, so there's a lot of things that come with being under us that they don't have to carry, right? You have to think about it. That's what are the reasons why people partner? That overhead.
Mhm.
So coming underneath us helps keep their overhead low. So we're carrying all of that overhead expenses for them, right? Or now they can be partners with us and we're also growing our dealership. So that's how you sometimes you look at it too. Now let's just say I have a restaurant owner who's looking to sell her business. And some of the advices I have given to her is like, well, you could become a commercial kitchen because we
Mhm.
know so many people are cooking out of their homes, right? And they shouldn't be. Commercial kitchen, you basically as a chef, you get your membership.
Yep.
You get your membership with us. You have a place you can go and cook your food. We're going to help you to get that cottage license. With the cottage license that she spoke about earlier, you can sell up to $78,000 worth of food with a license that only costs you $50 to get.
Yep.
And you can be cooking out of our kitchen now because we have a commercial kitchen license. And here it is. I was a struggling restaurateur where I'm not getting the foot traffic to stay in business. I've switched the model. So
Mhm.
instead of now selling my restaurant, shutting my restaurant down, probably owing on a business loan, being owing that landlord because I have this lease that I'm caught up in. I've changed the model and I'm making money now, and I'm helping other entrepreneurs to get into the market, and I'm helping people to continue to employ community and so on and so forth. So those are some of the different ways in which we can look at it, Abraham. It's not always has to be like, oh, everybody wants to get into the same thing, but we just have to be creative about how we're doing it.
okay, Andrea, what's your thought on that? To
Yeah,
me, I feel like it's like because everyone want to go the same route, things becomes oversaturated, right? Or sometimes, like as I'll come back to the group home business again. Sometimes like the government become technical, all right,
Mhm.
or start putting more stringent rules in place because everyone wants to go there. Some people go there, they're not even going there because they love. I mean, because they want to do it or going there because hey, Andrea is making, I mean,
Mhm.
500K or $1 million out of that. I need to jump in there.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of different things. So obviously, when we think about our people, like, they come here and they want a good life, right? And they want
Yeah,
money, right? And
yeah.
so I always think about that when I see people that they're in their mind, right? It's always they're trying to find this money, but sometimes they don't necessarily have the education around like a business structure and how it truly works. And like Miss B's literally, that's so smart as far as having people under your license and taking an overhead and obviously getting her cut from that. But like, I even think about my business. Like, I can't tell you how many times I go vending and there's an African vendor next to me, there's one across from me, there's one around, and some people are like, oh my God, there's so many African vendors. Okay, I'm not worried because I know I pick all my fabric. I don't have the same thing. I have different, I have a design, like I design all my stuff, I design all my t-shirts. And then on top of that, like, yeah, some people may be doing the same thing, but I'm a certified business too. So I get contracts with the state. I have the state reaching out to me. I'm in the SWIFT system. So typically what happens is if a agency or a business wants to do business with a BIPOC community or BIPOC business, they'll reach out to me, say, hey, can you bid on this RFP? I just recently did an RFP for t-shirts. I design all my t-shirts. The state of Minnesota, one of their business bureaus wanted to quote to see what I could do for them for, I think they gave me a list of like t-shirts, like a bunch of Columbia jackets, just it's for this department, but they already had their logo already. I don't even have to even design anything. All I have to do is make sure they have it. And I already have a printer. I have someone that does my supply, all of that. I'm just getting paid. I'm just the middle person, or I could even be a supplier too. And so I have people that reach out to me. They need custom stuff from Ghana. Got it. I have my people go back home. Here's what I'm looking for. I design, do all these things. So it's just a matter of like Miss B said, like figure out how you can scale, how you can like, you have to like find your own niche in it. Like everybody's going to be doing the same thing. Like think about all these millionaires that are out there, right? Look at all these wing stops. There's so many people that got a wing stop, right? They got money. They're still getting money. They just find a place that makes geographically like most sense, and like we'll put there and they will make some money. And the other thing is too, I think about like the university, like universities. If you have property on a university, you're always going to make money. You're always going to eat because people are always going to have to find a place to stay, right? They're not going to, people can't always live in the dorms. You're always going to have money. Students are always going to need stuff. They have expendable cash. So if you have a business where, for example, like you have products like a small store or like a toiletry store, something like that, like you're always going to make money. I did a event this past March. They brought some alumni back to do like a alumni market. When I tell you, I brought some of the sponges, the African sponges, you know, the we call it kocha. I don't know what you guys call it. I brought all the students were like, oh my God, I need this because we don't have this on campus. I made a niche for myself. So there are people coming back saying, hey, how can I get this? And now I'm like, okay, let me like you, hey, how can I get this on campus? Because you got students that need this. So I'm making a business case for myself. And therefore I can go into a contract with the U to say, hey, let's get these African sponges to students. It's a health equity thing. You know, you make a business case around it because you don't have that. Here you go. Now I'm up against Target and whoever else is on campus, and I've made something for myself. So I think it's about shifting that mindset and figure out how you can fit into like that next biggest thing.
Okay. Man, you guys have dropped some great gems here tonight. Great
There's
discussion.
money out there.
Yeah,
It's money. It's a lot of money.
You know, it's like it's like I just want to. My head is spinning, but I don't know where to start. But anyway, folks, you know, there's a 1 hour show, and we have got 1 hour 15 minutes. It's been a great discussion, turning a skill into a business. And these two ladies, man, they have given so much ideas here, so many ideas here tonight that I mean, if you watch your segment, you've been watching it, you're gonna watch your segment later. You're gonna learn a lot. But as we close, ladies, as we close here, what's the message you guys want to leave with the audience tonight? Andrea, I will start with you, and then Miss B will close it out. What do you want to tell folks, right? Sitting on those great skills. Some of them are afraid. Some of them too busy, working 2 jobs. Is that some people can sleep working 2 jobs, you know, but they have great skills. Working 2 jobs, you don't have the time, or they said the fear of leaving that stability. You know what I mean? Sometimes, right, you got mouths to feed, or maybe you're doing stuff back home. Stability, you know, sometimes. But what do you tell those folks?
I would say jump and grow your wings on the way down. Does not have to be perfect. And the
Jump
one thing
and grow your wings on the way down.
on the
I
way
love
down.
that.
I always think about that, and I think it's so imperative that you just keep that in the back of your mind. The one thing I think about as African people, we have so many resources, right? And I don't think people realize, like I always say we're royalty. Like we have shea butter, we have diamonds, we have chocolate, we have all these things. Think about all of those resources around you and figure out if there's something that you're good at. And if you're good at it, go learn, go invest in yourself and teach yourself the skills, or invest in education that you need to learn the skills, and do it good. I'm done.
Yeah.
I
man. I
love
don't know.
that.
That's
I
that's a
love that.
top the magnum level.
Yeah.
Miss B gotta, Miss B gotta, Miss B gotta take us home.
I'm a black woman, period. I'm a black woman in America, in this world, globally. I'm a black woman. Endurance and resilience don't get if resilience, endurance was a definition, it would be black women. So, and we are the number one new business owners start are black women. We open the most businesses every year in this country. And you talked about, oh, everybody doing the group home. Nobody complains about the fact there's 23 billionaires. Nobody complains about that. Who complains about that? Who has a problem with that? Right?
They are
23
not all in
black
it.
billionaires.
They are not all in the same industry though.
What I'm saying is they exist, right? Nobody complains about that. Nobody says the market is oversaturated with billionaires.
Okay.
Nobody says the market is oversaturated with millionaires, right? I think Andrea has said it very well tonight. Know your niche. Know your niche. Don't be afraid of. I always tell people Target and Walmart are always next to each other for a reason. It's markedly intentional to be next to a Walmart or to a Target. Everybody wants to be next to a Target or a Walmart. And so I'm going to end on that.
Okay. Folks, I mean, every time you tune in on Wednesday, you learn a lot. It gave you the courage to go and start that business. And so, man, ladies, it's been great having you guys on here tonight. It's been a great topic, turning a skill into a business. I don't know how we come with these topics, man. It's like, but they turn into some great gems. I don't know. It's like folks in the background be working hard to come up with a great topic to educate our community. But it's been a great conversation, though, right? It's like this Wednesday business segment is going to turn into, it's going to create millionaires around here because like
Yes.
the stuff you guys said tonight, man, if folks are listening or they're going to listen to this, they will pick something from it. I mean, some motivation and go and do something. So thank you so much, Andrea. After taking a long break, you came here tonight and dropped some great jams,
You
and that's
know,
and that
I'm here.
and
I'm
that
here.
right there, right? That's right there is, yeah. I mean, it's tough. So my co-host Miss B, as always, you be rocking your thing, you be doing your thing. But folks, we're gonna be back here tomorrow, for our regular different topic, the business tonight. But tomorrow we're gonna be back here on a different note. So, but thank you so much, ladies. It's been good having you guys. See you guys tomorrow or Friday or Monday. We here every day, 5 days a week. So, a great night, folks. Talk to you all another time. Great night.
good night, everyone.